What is up, bros and broettes? I'm Inkslasher, and today we're starting something brand new on this channel. It's going to be called Call of Duty Quick Tips. Now, this is not only going to incorporate Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, Modern Warfare Remastered, but every single Call of Duty that's ever come out, because these are going to be general tips that will help improve your kill death and your overall gameplay. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because a lot of the things I've realized when watching different Call of Duty YouTubers, including myself, over the past little while, is everything that they're making videos on is either incredibly in-depth or for players that have a really high skill in the game. However, there's a really large majority of players that play Call of Duty that just play it for fun and don't play it competitively. This series is going to be for them. We're going to look at the most basic things possible in the game, ranging all the way up to the things that even pro Call of Duty players sometimes screw up. The topic that we're going to be talking about today is going to be the minimap, the proper way that you should be looking at the minimap and gaining information from it, because I feel a lot of people do this really improperly. So what we're actually going to do is we are going to pause the game right here and just look at the minimap. So when looking at the minimap here, the first thing you probably noticed is the red dot. The red dot is obviously an enemy, and we know that. And it's good to note that, but that's actually not what you should be paying attention to when looking at the minimap. Yes, it'll help you out when you know where an individual enemy is. However, the three main things you actually want to pay attention to when looking at the minimap is, first of all, where your teammates are, number two, where they are looking, and finally, where your team is spawning. The reason for this is you can't see where the other team is spawning, but you can see where your team is spawning. And the way Call of Duty works is wherever your team spawns, the enemy team is probably going to be spawning the opposite side of the map as that, if you're playing Team Deathmatch. So looking at the minimap here, there's a couple things to note. First of all, our whole team is at the other side of the map looking towards that back right corner. So chances are that's where your enemies are going to be. But the other thing you want to note is that behind you to the bottom left of the map there, you may notice that there is no one there. So therefore, if your team kills the enemies, they may spawn in that back left corner because there's no one there to block that specific spawn. So the two things you got to be worried about are the top right corner right now and the bottom left corner. However, if we play this gameplay just a little bit, what you'll actually notice is that my team ends up dying, and when my team dies, they spawn in that back left corner, and because of that, I don't have to worry about the enemy team spawning behind me. I can push up into their current spawn without having too much of a worry of the enemy coming up behind me. And you'll see, because of this recognition of me knowing that they're still spawning back here, I'm able to get right into their spawn and really do some damage to them. So the red dots on the minimap don't necessarily tell you where the enemy is spawning. It shows you where an individual is on the map. This will really come into play when there's certain enemies sitting in corners or camping in rooms. The red dots will tell you exactly where they are within that spawn. Your teammates and your teammates' positioning will tell you where the enemy is spawning. Not to mention that if you're playing Infinite Warfare, there's a ton of people using ghosts and a ton of people using suppressors, so people may not even be showing up as red dots on the minimap. So therefore, being able to read the minimap by looking at your teammates, their positioning, where they're looking, and where they're spawning is incredibly important. So this very simple skill of looking at where your teammates are on the map and figuring out where your enemies are based off of that is a very simple and important skill while playing Call of Duty, but it can be taken to the next level when knowing where certain spawns are on certain maps. This is how Call of Duty pros take this to the next level. We're going to use Genesis, this map, for an example because it's very simple to look at because there's very few spawns because it's a small map. So looking at the full map here, the spawns on Genesis are super simple. There's 3 spots where the game will want to spawn you. 1 in the building and the 2 outside right here. Now, knowing this, the way you can exploit this is that if your team controls 2 of these areas, your enemy will be forced to spawn in the 3rd one. It is very simple. If you don't believe me that these are where the main spawns are, go into a custom game and kill yourself a bunch of times, and this is where the game will spawn you. It's very simple to find out. You can do the same thing on every single map in the game. Now, this technique will mainly work best in Team Deathmatch and Kill Confirm, but can be also exploited in other game modes like Domination. Now, the thing with this and knowing the spawns like this, you actually have to have a pretty decent team to maintain that spawn trap, because the minute a couple of your teammates die in one of the spawns, your enemies may start spawning there. And of course, there are other spawns other than the 3 I pointed out on this map. There's all over the place, but the 3 spots it wants you to spawn are the 3 I pointed out. Similarly, on other maps, there's going to be tons of spawns on all the maps. However, there's certain positions that the game will want you to spawn in. The 2 main ones are almost always going to be the 2 spawns that the teams originally spawn in at the beginning of the match. So knowing how the spawns work like this, we're going to hop ahead just a little bit in the gameplay here and real quickly just look. So right now I'm inside the house and my teammates are on the outside spawn beside the house. What this means is that the enemy team should be spawning back at the bottom of the stairs, and in fact they are 100%. Now if I was to stay here and my team was to stay where they are right now, we would maintain this spawn trap and they would be stuck spawning at those stairs. However, you're going to notice right here my team pushes too far up that left side, and every time I kill someone now, they're spawning back behind me at that outside spawn. Now, I noticed this for the main reason being my team stopped spawning over there and started spawning inside the house. And when I noticed this, I pull back, go inside the house, readjust, and we're actually able to recapture that spawn trap once again. It's kind of rare for you to be able to do that, but knowing these 3 spawns, I'm actually, by staying in this position right here, forcing them to spawn in the outside out here by the steps. Now, this of course gets much more difficult with larger maps, but knowing your spawns and knowing how to read that mini-map is going to make it so you always know where the enemy team is, even without a UAV on. So just as a recap, guys, the 3 things you're going to want to pay attention to on your minimap are: where are your teammates, where are your teammates looking, and finally, where are your teammates respawning? By noting these 3 things, you'll be able to tell where the enemy is spawning, and you'll really be able to take advantage of that. But guys, that is the end of the first episode of Call of Duty Quick Tips. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, it'd be fantastic if you could leave a like rating. It really does help out the channel, and lets me know that you enjoyed the video and want to see more like this one. If you guys have any questions or anything like that about Call of Duty that you'd like me to address in a future Call of Duty Quick Tips video, the way to show me is by letting me know down in the comments below. So if you like what you see and have a question, I think the next episode we're going to do is reload canceling, but anything along those lines, you can let me know down in the comment section below. But guys, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I upload new Call of Duty videos every single day of the week, and you can check out my Twitch, Twitter, all of that crap down in the description. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, peace out.